Welcome to the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips here on yikesradio.com and acceleratedраdio.net. Here on the Poetry of Justice show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
yikesradio.com.
Those are the sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash. And Mr. Kevin Nash is the owner of this proprietorship here at Accelerated Radio. And I always give Mr. Kevin Nash a shout out because if it wasn't for his dream and his passion and what he does, it wouldn't be possible for me to do what I love to do so very much here on Saturday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to go on next to talk to more sponsorships, and that goes out to Gingy Productions and Entertainment Company, and that's Lori G, the benefactors, ladies and gentlemen. How are you tonight, Lori G?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, beautiful. Just want to check in with you tonight, make sure you're doing good. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to scoot on down to some more of our new sponsorship here, the Poetry of Justice show, and that's going out to G Babies Catering LLC. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to reach out to my nephew, Chef Mac Macario Rosales. You can check him out, G Babies LLC. That is what he is on the IG, guys. You're going to get him on the ground. We got some amazing new things that are happening in light of COVID that we can bring things to you, delivery services, all safe, top notch. Because I wouldn't tell you nothing else, right, ladies and gentlemen? And then I'm going to go ahead and give a very special shout out to our other sponsorship. I call it the Man of Steel on the Poetry of Justice show. That would be WMPJ Steelworks, ladies and gentlemen. And then I like to go on ahead and give a very special shout out to APS Muscle Cars, ladies and gentlemen. APS Muscle Cars. He's got some amazing stuff going on over there. If you want some vehicle restoration, or let's say, for instance, you may want to store some of your lowriders or your Cadillacs or just any other cars. You might have some Harley Davidsons you want to store. You just never know. The dude you want to talk to is Memo, M-E-M-O, ladies and gentlemen, and that is at APS Muscle Cars, our sponsorship here on the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on yikesradio.com. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight. How are you doing tonight, Rashid?
Oh, I'm doing well. Had me a long break, and I am fed, and I am good to go.
You got to go because we got an amazing show lined up for us tonight. And how are you doing tonight, Miss Lori G? How are you doing, Miss Benefactor?
I am doing well. I am super excited because we get a chance to talk boxing tonight. You know, when growing up, boxing was one of my favorite sports. And so I loved watching it. And I just can't wait to hear all the technical stuff. And I had a chance to see Mr. Victor here in action, and we are in for a great treat. So I'm looking forward to get to know more about you, Victor, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
You're so welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to formally introduce Victor Rodriguez to our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Victor is a multitude of things, but one of the things that we are going to capitalize on tonight and we are going to emphasize and allow the light to continue to shine on is his amazing boxing career, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Thank you.
I am so super excited because I love boxing, and I'm just going to put it out there. I've only really talked boxing like with just like the people in my family. You know what I mean? Like we would really get like, what about you, Rashid? You know what I mean? When you think boxing, where do you go?
Usually, I would just talk to friends, family, or I'll sometimes just just have a talk online and just chat it up, just to talk about some of the things that's going on right now in the boxing world space, since the boxing world has been taken by storm by all these celebrities that are going into the boxing world. So there's a lot to talk about in that aspect of the actual of boxing.
That's
honestly.
And then I think what we're going to do is talk about different boxing greats, Victor. I want to know like some of your inspirations and how you got started and why. So I know you see I have like 2 pages worth of notes on you, Victor. And I don't know, Lori's probably got another 2 or 3, but we've been doing our homework and I'm so very excited. So, but there's so much information. So let's just start, Victor, where did you grow up?
So I grew up here in Stanton, California, next to Anaheim. You know, since I was 5 years old, I started growing up in the gyms. I went to school, came back home, I ate, and I went back to the gym, and then come back, do homework, and then go to sleep. And same thing, same routine.
Why boxing, Victor? How did you know?
So, you know, the reason I chose boxing was just my parents always wanted us to be in a sport. You know, it just shows us discipline, how to be responsible. But main reason was my older brother. He told my dad that he wanted to box, and you know, as a little brother, you want to do usually whatever your older brother wants to do. So I was there with him. You know, I was there in the gym, and at first I wouldn't take it that serious. You know, because I was a kid. I was only 5 years old. I would go in there, I would hit the bags, and then as I started growing, I started getting more serious. When I turned 8 years old, I made my amateur debut, and that's when I just started getting more into it. And I was, you know what, I'm actually in this, and I just went on from there.
So awesome. I see you, Lori G. I know you got some I don't want to hog it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the ball over to you for a little bit, pretty lady, and get you some time in with Victor.
I did. I was just sending a text. We have a special person who joined us, Linda Kaye, who's in our Zoom room, and our Zoom room has got lots of support today. So just I didn't know if Linda wanted to come make an announcement before we got started, or where we're going to go with that.
What we're going to do is what I want to do, let you know, Victor, I have one of my very dearest friends. Her name is Linda Kaye, and she's from Linda Kaye Poetry. But Linda does so many things, but she's a very sweet, dear friend of mine. And so she just wanted to stop in. I wanted her to stop in tonight because because this show's about poetry and art and all of that jazz, Victor. So she just wanted to pop in, meet you, and she's going to talk to us about a recent project that she does, and it's called Poets Place. And I was been blessed and honored to have publications of my pieces of poetry in Linda's Poets Place, and it's a part of LA Art News. But Linda's going to give us way more detail on it, and it may be something you may be interested in doing some writing on, or someone you may know, Victor. So Linda Kaye, very dear friend of us, mine and here of the show. So she's just going to stop in and say hi to us.
I'm going to pull you over, Linda. Here you come. There she is.
There she is. Hey, pretty
Hello,
girl.
Linda.
Audio. Uh-oh, we got to unmute. Linda, you got to unmute, pretty girl.
Can you hear us, Linda?
Uh-oh.
Unmute and start video.
There you go.
There you go.
Here we go. So I just wanted to say to Victor that I love the fighting world. I mean, I'm a black belt in martial arts and Kung Fu San Soo.
Wow.
I don't fight anymore, you know, because, you know, the last time that I sparred, you know, in a dojo, a lower belt kicked me in the mouth, split my lip open, and I said, you know, I don't need this.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I love the fighting world. All right, right on.
Well, how are you doing tonight, Miss Linda Kaye Poetry?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. The Poets Place is in the LA Art News. It's an online publication for artists. And I've been blessed to host a column for the last year and change called Poets Place. And our lovely Miss JackieRay, poetess, she's been posting and sending us submissions, you know, for the last year. And I was thinking, you know, why don't you read the piece that you posted today? You know, Jackie, I was hoping you would do that. But just to let everybody know, it's www.laartnews.com. I can put it in the chat box. And submit to me, Linda K Poetry at iCloud.com. Anybody, send me a limerick, send me, a haiku, write a little poetry, send it to me, and I will be delighted to host your piece.
It's going to be a great time, ladies and gentlemen. So, Linda K, you want me to go ahead and splash it down? Is it too soon? Victor, would that be okay if I shared a little piece of poetry
Yeah, go ahead.
tonight? Is that okay?
Do it,
course,
girl.
yeah.
I've been waiting to hear you read that.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Now it's on. It's on. The pressure's on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pull it up. Miss Linda K. I don't know. Somebody's calling me. Why are they trying to call me, Linda K? They can't call me.
During the show.
All right. It's from that friggin' what do you call it? Messenger.
That
They just
Google
call
phone?
you Messenger. Yeah, I just
Whenever
call
they
you.
feel like it.
I don't even know you. Stop it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you ready, Rashid? This piece is called Intermittently Me. Intermittent pieces of ecstasy, sexily existing in the galaxy through this life. The passion and the energy seductively, invitingly, lovingly free. Is romance the dance through space? No time, no race to face the chase of love, peace, and harmony, adoringly through me, touching the heart, the tender part, that seductive part at the start of something new that only few can do to me. Are you with me? Intermittently, Jackie.
Yeah.
The poet is right. Yeah, that's such good balls. So yeah, that's it, guys. Intermittently me. Thank goodness for Linda K Poetry and the Poet's Place. I beg you guys to check it out. Linda, you got to give those handles, please. Again, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you. Beautiful.
Okay, www.laartnews.com. That's the publication. And if you want to submit writing to me, any works, that's Linda K Poetry, all one word, LINDAKAYE Poetry at iCloud.com.
Sweetness. All right. Thank you so
I will
much
put
for
that
that.
in the chat. So Linda K Poetry, all one word, right?
Yeah,
At iCloud.com.
Victor. So we've got Victor Rodriguez in the house tonight, Linda K, and he's been boxing since he's been about 5 years old. Linda, can you believe that? He talked about the discipline and why he has chosen to move forward as a boxer. So Victor, can you share a little bit more with us here tonight, particularly while we still have Linda?
Yeah. So as I said, I started at 5 years old, and main reason was my older brother. So he was my main inspiration. And just starting my amateur career, it was just, I guess I didn't get really serious about it until I actually started, maturing. It's just at 8 years old, I mean, you're still, you're fighting and you're winning, you like it, but then you don't really think about going pro yet. And then until you start maturing, let's say maybe when I was 15, we really started, thinking, okay, eventually I do want to turn pro. And I did at 18 years old. It was a very tough process, that transition. It was tough, but we got there. Ever since I was 15 years old, I was already sparring, older people, bigger people. But when I was 18, we just decided to take that next step.
Victor, you said that was a really tough process. Can you give us a little feel about what made it so tough and what made it so challenging? We oftentimes have younger listeners to our show, and we talk a lot about community and aspirations and encouraging people to follow their dreams. And there may be an opportunity for someone to kind of learn from some of the challenges that you faced.
Yeah, so at 17 years old, we decided that, we were gonna take that step. And then it took us almost a year to finally get someone to give us that opportunity, just because I had 48 amateur fights. I lost 7.
Oh.
But there's other people out there that have so many amateur fights, and it's just that's what they look for. But unfortunately, we didn't have that amount of time that they did, to go out on the weekends. My dad worked, so we couldn't really go Saturdays and Sundays to go out and fight every weekend, while other people could. So then promoters and managers, they didn't want to give us that opportunity, but we stayed motivated. It was really tough, because we would train and train and train. They would give us a fight date, and they would say, you know what, we couldn't find an opponent. We couldn't find an opponent, but in reality, it's them not really being sure of giving you a spot in their fight date. So then it was more like they didn't want to waste their time. But we stayed motivated. We kept training, and one day we finally found someone that we started sparring. Big professionals. Someone that really helped us was Ray Beltran. He's a former world champ at 135, and he was the one that started getting us in contact with these people, and they finally gave us an opportunity, and we debuted at 18 years old.
Wow.
All right. That is great.
That's really awesome. Oh my God, that's pretty cool. Lori, what are you going to say? I'm sorry. I know I cut you off. I apologize.
Oh no, I just said that is wonderful. I wondered what weight level do you fight at, Victor?
Super lightweight, so 140 pounds.
140.
That energy like for you? Let's just maybe literally take a walk through that. So you're ready. You're there. Tonight is the night. Let's get in the psyche, because there's so much that goes into boxing, more than just the physical. So take us through that emotionality part of it. How does that work for you?
So mentally, when the fight date is getting close, let's say the week before, you start, it really just starts cutting down to, the final pounds to make weight. But it's just like you're in tunnel vision. You're so focused on that, and you just put everything aside, and you just focus on that fight date. And the day of the fight, it's such a long day. It goes so long. You're up in the morning, and it's like you have breakfast, and then you're just like, man, at around 8, I should be fighting already. But it's just such a long process that it takes so long, and you get anxious of finally getting into the ring. And especially for my debut, I was just so anxious to finally get on there and do what I was meant to do. But yeah, it's just a super long day mentally. You're just okay. You start playing out the fight in your head, and then eventually it goes a different way. It's not like you planned, but you're just trying to mentally prepare, especially because I was so new to it. But yeah, so it's just trying to mentally prepare the whole day. It's tough.
Lord, did you have anything? I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
Victor, I was just going to ask, so there you are. It's time to go. The anxiety is up. Your heart's probably pounding before you go out. You know what I mean? Do you go out with the spirit of victory? You know what I mean? Where's your spirit? How do you usually resonate with that prior to one of your bouts?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the moment that they tell us, okay, get ready, it's time for our walkout, you're just already thinking, I'm gonna go out there, and there's never a doubt in my mind that I'm gonna win. Regardless of what's happening, I'm gonna win. Not, a loss never goes through my mind. I go out there and I'm focused on just getting in there and doing what I'm supposed to do. And it's so crazy because we have background music and all of that, and it's like all of that is just I don't focus on it. It's weird. I don't focus on the music. I can't. It's like I don't listen to it, and then I'm finally on there, and it's just tunnel vision the whole way through.
Awesome. I'm going to get to some of our questions that you sent over. Well, some of the things that we talked about. So, Linda, I'm going to ask you this before Linda Kaye leaves us. I want to know, what is your thought of justice? What does the word justice mean to you, Victor?
I think justice is just equality, everyone having an opportunity at success. Everyone should, like I said, everyone should have an equal opportunity at success. Everyone out there makes mistakes, but I think there's always a chance for us to improve as a person and to grow.
Appreciate that, Victor. Linda Kay, I just wanted to say, did you want to maybe mention a little bit about your recent video and what we did on the show? I was just kind of thinking that may be of interest. If you wanted to share that
Oh,
with
my
me.
rap music video?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm just wrapped up in Victor. I mean, I'm just listening to him talk about the ring and fighting and tuning out everything. It reminded me of my days as an actor, when you have to prepare to go out on stage and, people in the audience, they're coughing or you might have a baby crying, that could really, distract you from the character or the scene. And so you learn those techniques of having to be able to quiet your mind, and we did that through meditation, right? When you learn how to meditate, you learn how to center yourself and focus yourself and quiet yourself and only see who you need to see, which is your opponent, right? And everything else quiets. And so when Victor was talking about that, I just was immersed in that myself and remembering, what it's like, and those skills, will keep you forever. I don't know how many broken bones you've had so far, or, or what injuries, but I know from my years of fighting, I have all kinds of issues, as a senior, swollen shoulders, swollen knees, messed up hips, and that's all from, using your body as an athlete. So, those skills that you're learning as a fighter, no matter what you do in life from here on out, that discipline will carry you forever. I just impart that to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I have a rap music video. Okay, really quick. It's on YouTube, and it's called Eracism, and it's just tongue in cheek, and it's fun, and I play this white privileged Jewish American character, in Beverly Hills, and my friend Mary, she's Asian American, and she talks to that level of racism of how the Chinese were abused in America, and that's it, guys. So it's on YouTube. I'll put it in the chat box where you can find it.
Thank you so much, Linda Kay. I appreciate you. Thank you for your appearance tonight on the Poetry of Justice show.
Love you guys.
Of course. I know. Love
And
you
we
too.
love you back, Linda. I said, and we love you back.
Well, I love to be loved.
Love to love you, baby.
Victor,
Remember that.
Don't we love to be loved? Okay.
To be loved.
Okay. All righty.
I'm
Victor,
sorry. Go ahead,
had
Lola.
I said, we have lots of people in our Zoom room tonight, and I'm so excited about it. And I'd like to invite them to put their questions in the chat if they have some for you. So far, we've got people who are like, woo, woo, go, Victor. So glad that you're here, saying hello to you. Jackie, there's some praise for your poetry that came across. Someone says a J Vision says they respect to you and all the fighters out there. Stevie says, welcome, Victor. Thanks for being on the show. And Linda is always full of charisma. Yes, she is, Stevie. J Vision says, sounds like a very interesting video, Linda, and we'll definitely watch it after this interview.
Oh, thank you. I hope you like it.
Yes. And Linda says, thank you to all. So thanks for our Zoom room. You guys are definitely appreciated and valued. We invite you to post your questions. We'll have Victor answer those. My question, Victor, is during our pre-interview, we talked about those three fundamental things that you definitely wanted to make sure you got across to our viewers. One of those things really jumped out to me when you talked about wanting to share that transitioning from being amateur to professional, right? And I think we talked about some of those challenges there that came across, right? What advice would you have for young individuals who want to maybe become professional, or to go along that path for that transition?
I think more important than anything, stay hungry, stay motivated, because there's going to be lots of ups and downs. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you that you can't do it. And they're just going to, overall give you negative feedback, negative comments. But, just learn to take those in, learn, grow as a person, as an athlete. But yeah, more than anything, just stay hungry and always stay focus on what you want to do, what your goal is. And yeah, I think that's the key to success. Just staying focused and never lose your end goal.
Yeah.
Now, Victor, I'm an educator, so I was trying to avoid this question, but I just can't. I can't help myself. How did you balance being a young person going to school, but also being so committed and dedicated to a sport that is so very physical, right? That your muscle memory, you have to be at it every single day. Was that a challenge for you? And what advice would you give to young men and women who are still in high school or middle school and looking to be engaged this way?
So, I give a lot of credit to my parents, just because, they were great parents to my brothers and I. And they told us, priority is always school. School is always priority. You always need something to fall back on, just in case things don't go as planned. So then I remember that if at one point we didn't have homework done before going to the gym, or, if they thought that maybe we wouldn't be able to finish it after the gym, they would keep us home from the gym that day. And so school was always a priority for my parents, and they made it a priority for us. So they told us, school is always first, and if you don't have your homework done, you can't go to the gym. So as a kid, I love going to the gym. I love being there, the environment. So I got my homework done as quick as possible, make sure that it was done well, and then I was able to go to the gym. So yeah, just I think just knowing what priorities are and getting those things done, then you can go and move on to, the rest.
Right. Well, congratulations to your parents. That's great for putting that stipulation there, right? Like if you want to go do this thing that you're passionate about, that education comes first. I commend them, definitely. Now, during our pre-setup time, you talked with Rashid and I about a few of your fights that we're going to feature some clips of, so that we can actually see you in action. And then afterwards, have you talk to us a little bit about what that felt like, how you trained for that fight. Are you going to leave us, Linda? Take care, beautiful. Thanks for dropping
Linda.
in.
Thank you so much, Linda. Have a great night.
So much. Okay.
Love you.
All right. So I think that first one that you gave us the YouTube link with, who was that fight with, Victor?
Oscar Mendoza. So that was my second professional fight.
All right. Hey, Rashid, do you have that queued up and we can play a little bit of that fight?
Yes, I do.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
Boxing tonight, guys. Wow. Where are you right now, Victor? Where is your mind as you review the tapes?
Every time I watch my own fights, I'm dodging the punches as they go. It's I'm even sweating, I look back and it's, when you're in there, you're so focused, and then you watch it again and you're just like, you're reliving it. You're reliving it. And it's like, you're in there. And every time I think the people that watch fights with me, when they're around me, they see I start dodging the punches along with myself inside of the fight. I get excited. I get excited.
I'm in the studio. Victor, go, Victor.
Yeah. That's great.
Exactly.
Love that.
So
I'm sorry,
Victor, with
Rashid.
this fight here, what was your biggest challenge you think in facing this opponent?
Just staying away. He was a hard hitter. In the middle of that round, I got caught with a good punch. I was able to come back from it, but just maintaining my distance. He was a shorter fighter, so his advantage was to be inside of the pocket. Working inside. So just the main challenge was just keeping the distance. I ended up winning that fight, TKO in the 4th round, and yeah, we're
You gotta
successful.
find that, Rashid. Can we get to the 4th round? I got to see the TKO happen here. Great. While Rashid is pulling that up, we've got some love for you here in the Zoom room, Victor. We have Gracia Velasquez. I will tell you what she says here. She says, love you, Victor. So proud of you. Jay Vision says, seems like everyone was only there for you. Amazing debut. But debut, sorry. Oh, just typing wrong there. Amazing fight, not your debut.
Yeah.
And also, Jay Visions has a question. How do you handle all that handsomeness while being a boxer? Such a big fan, by the way. I'm with Jay Visions. How do you keep that handsomeness going on? You guard that face well, huh?
Yeah, we work a lot on defense. Overall goal is to come out safe that night and, stay mentally capable,
Absolutely. Great. Okay, you got us ready to go, Rashid?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
All right, let me go back over here, do this, and fight time.
That
Man.
is so exciting.
Wow.
I want to be in boxing. And I know that I just can't even imagine like the thrill of it all. And it's like, and then you won and you like put your arm. Oh my God, what is that like? Talk to us. I'm all excited.
So I remember in the 4th round, I cut him with I think a right hand. It was a pretty big cut. When I saw that, it's just I just picked at it. I knew that by seeing the size of the cut, I knew that it was gonna lead to a stoppage. So I just kept going at it until the ref thought it was enough.
You jacked up. Did you? Go ahead, Rashi.
Yeah, in fact, definitely that. It looked like his right eyebrow was just completely destroyed, which very common to actually see that in the boxing world. So your game plan after that 2nd round, where he hit you pretty good, and yet do a little dirty boxing, to actually recuperate.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get yourself back in the fight. What was your thought process in that 3rd round?
So going back to the corner in the 2nd round, I did get caught. So going back to the corner, we get we go over what happened. You know, it's like, okay, you got caught, so now we know. Now we know his power. Now we gotta, you know, we kind of have to respect it. You maintain the distance. Third round, we went in there, and you know, if it comes to a firefight, then we do it. But if it's not needed, then we stay on the outside. You know, continue with our game plan. Just stay on the outside. Keep the distance more than anything.
Okay, definitely.
Mhm.
So once you got that into that fourth round, you caught him with the actual, I believe it was a right hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you caught him with a right hook. Caught him right on the eyebrow, and it was just a big gash.
Mhm.
And it's like, because we've seen,
Mhm.
well, we've seen what happened with Tyson Fury, when he had like a big gash, and he was just gushing blood.
Right.
But yeah, but they made time to actually, I'm gonna go in and actually, get the Vaseline
Mhm.
and try to seal over it.
Mhm.
I'm guessing with the size of the cut that your opponent had, Mr. Oscar Mendoza, it was too big for them to actually even go with the Vaseline, and you get the win.
Mhm.
So congratulations for your second win in
Thank you.
the boxing world.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know,
Thank
I
you so
have a
much for
question,
answering.
Victor. So,
Mhm.
you know, you shared with us in the beginning that a big part of boxing is mental preparation, right?
Mhm.
So, how would you say you mentally prepared for this fight?
Throughout the whole camp, you know, you always have the fight in your mind, right? So even on the days where you're just so tired, because it does get very hard to, you know, to continue so much training. You know, we would train in the morning, my strength and conditioning. We would run in the afternoon. I would train with my dad at night, boxing. So it's 3 trainings a day, and it does get really tough. But you know, even on those days when you're so tired, you just have the fight in mind, and it's just that motivation of to keep going. So that's how, just mentally, I think that I'm a pretty strong person mentally. I don't, you know, all the negative comments and all these things where I'm too tired to do anything. I try to work through it,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's the way. Yeah.
What is your training schedule generally like, Victor?
So in the morning, I train strength and conditioning. I run in the afternoon, and then at night, I train with my dad boxing. Yeah. Mhm.
That must be so awesome, that relationship with your dad.
It
And
is. Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that and what that means to you? What it means to you?
Yeah. So growing up, you know, my dad wasn't the trainer at the beginning. He wasn't, you know, my trainer since the start. My brother and I used to train with someone else. But this coach was just, there's you always have to have that connection with your coach and that respect from your coach to you, and you to your coach. But it just, we didn't have that with that specific coach. And one day my older brother actually told my dad, you know what, if you don't train us, I'm done. I don't want to box anymore. And my dad got to it. He started training us, and we just built that relationship. It was really nice having my dad there, just because you you know, he knows everything that you go through at home and everything that you go through at the gym. So then you're there, and you just have that, you know, that relationship and that confidence of telling him what you actually feel, rather than maybe having another coach and hiding stuff from him. You know, my dad was there he knew everything that was going on.
Mhm.
I think that's awesome. What do you think about that, Rashid? Babe?
I think it's an actual great story,
Mhm.
to be able to box like your father. I mean, the actual box with your father sounds like, the story of, Mayweather,
Mayweather, that's what I was thinking.
Floyd, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Senior. Just just being able to actually train together, box together, and actually, and actually improve in the sport. Maybe we can, have you go down that um
Mhm.
same direction. But I want to ask you about your third fight
Mhm.
against Justin Horsley.
Mhm.
Um, So what was your thought process going into that third fight? It's on ESPN. In fact, it's on it's on satellite TV. In fact, it's on a big network. How are the nerves going into that fight?
Honestly, I wasn't too stressed about being on TV or anything like that. I was more excited and motivated, you know, knowing that it was on TV. So I trained super hard for that fight. We actually had, I think, a month and a few days of training camp. So it was a very short camp. It was during the pandemic. So it was when boxing first came back. When boxing first came back, and they gave us a call and we took it. It's just something that you can't. It's just an opportunity that you can't turn down. So we took it, even if we had time of inactivity, and we were in the pandemic and we weren't training as seriously just because gyms were closed. So I remember that the first few days of that camp, I was training in my backyard. I was training in my backyard in the garage with my dad. It was tough. It was tough because gyms weren't open yet. Thankfully, soon after gyms began to open, and we got back to the gym, and we were able to get a good camp. But it was very intense. It was a very intense camp.
Oh, that sounds like it had to be. I'm sorry, Rashid.
Okay. So, just a sidebar question. If you had to actually choose an opponent that you would want to face, that would be, in your weight class. If you had to move up a weight class, who would you want to fight?
Hmm.
I think main goal first, get there, and when you're up there, any name that's up there is there's no way that we're gonna duck them. If we're up there with them, I would like to fight anyone.
Okay. And so, that- I could consider yourself a purist. In fact, when it comes to the sport of boxing, back you've been training, back since you were 5 years old. Started actually, taking it seriously when you were 8. But what are your thoughts on those individuals, back that are coming in from outside of the boxing world? Like, say, for example, like Conor McGregor, going from the MMA ring to the boxing ring, or like these like celebrities like Nate Robinson, or a Jake or Logan Paul coming into the boxing ring. Uh, what are your thoughts on those individuals, and how it affects the actual art of boxing?
Uh, I know that a lot of people may not agree with me and with my opinion, but I'm honestly against it, just because so much of us young fighters work so hard to get to the to get up there, and these guys come in from from not even from being a YouTuber. They come in from being that to an actual sport, and they're televised, making millions. I guess again, they have the names, but they fight for the actual WBC belts, and that to me I think is a disgrace. So many of us dream with having that one day, and they come in from being a YouTuber and they get that opportunity. So I think that I honestly am against it. With Conor McGregor, I think that I was against that too, but it's a little different. He's in the fight game. He's in the fight game, and he fought against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd was always just about the money, and I even I was interested in watching it. I watched it and I thought it was pretty fun to watch. But with Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and all these YouTubers coming in, and I think that more of the promotion companies that give them an opportunity, I think that it's more of a disrespectful from them to us than the YouTubers that actually get they're going in there trying to make their money. It's all business, but the promotion company, I think it's the ones. I think it's a disgrace that they actually gave them an opportunity. Hmm.
Okay.
I could see that, right?
Yeah, because you got Jake Paul going up against Ben Askren, who's coming off of a surgery. With the last thing Ben Askren has been known for was getting kneed in the face in like 8 seconds in a UFC ring by Jorge Masvidal. That's the last thing that like Ben Askren is known for, and then he's just coming off of hip surgery. So it's like I'm like, you're picking opponents, and instead of going for actual fights, because there's someone that's actually calling you out. That's actual fighter in Dylan Danis. He's been calling you out, but yet you dodge him. You trying to fight McGregor when he's in the pre-fight of actually preparing for a UFC event. And it's like, you know, it was just messy, and just a lot of trash talking. And and my opinion on this Jay Visions, as far as YouTubers going into the boxing world, I'm more or less against it, because I see it from the entertainment perspective, but from the boxing perspective, I don't believe that that these individuals who haven't taken boxing seriously and are just in it for the money should not be, you know, coming into the sport and just, you know, basically quote unquote doing whatever they want. And basically going up against, you know, quote unquote, you know, my bum fights, because to me it's like, you know, if you're going to be stepping into the boxing ring, actually go up against actual boxers, go up against actual people that actually know how to fight and actually test yourself. In fact, don't be going up against people that one is a fellow YouTubers, or one was an NBA player who's never boxed a day in his life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do you really feel, Rashid? Please don't hold back.
It's just ridiculous at this point. It's like, you know, if you want to be a boxer, fight people who actually have boxing experience. Fight people who actually know how to box, who can actually box in it and actually quote unquote make you better, because that's what Canelo did. Canelo fought Mayweather. He lost to Mayweather, but guess what? It made him better.
Yes, it did.
It made him a better fighter. He learned from that. What do you learn against fighting someone who is literally not on your level? You don't learn anything from that.
That's so true.
You get overconfident. You get cocky, and then when you fight somebody that actually has that pedigree, you get your ass handed to you, and now you become humble. But you didn't really learn anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Rashid. Thank you so much.
Jay Vision says, I agree with you guys. Some people that have boxed their whole life and are working towards big fights sometimes don't even get major opportunities, and boom, out of the random come these people who don't even box and get big opportunities.
Yeah.
And Stevie agrees with you guys as well. Definitely. Wow, so much to discuss here. We have another question for you, Victor, from our Zoom room. Jay Vision says, what else do you do right now besides boxing?
So I'm actually attending EMT school, EMT preparation. I want to be a firefighter. You know, that's my backup plan. So I'm attending EMT school. That's, you know, the first step, and hopefully I'm successful in that. Yeah.
I'm sure you will be. Wow.
Absolutely.
What that takes a special kind of person, in my opinion, to decide to be an EMT a person, or have that as an occupation, or to go into healthcare. What sparked you to do that? Where did you fall in interest or love with that pathway?
So I'm going to be completely honest. I was going to college. I was in college, and I wasn't interested in anything specifically. But then I started talking to a lot of people, and I started, you know, getting more mature, and I decided, you know what, I have to do something. I have a backup plan just in case boxing doesn't work. I need something to fall back on. And so I started talking to people, and I actually have a friend that was a firefighter for 20 something years, is now a sheriff. And he started talking to me about it, and he told me, you know what, it's a great career. You can probably do boxing and firefighting as well. And I figured, you know what, I like the adrenaline. I like, I like helping people as well. And so I thought that firefighting, I noticed that I did like it because I was actually looking for opportunities, and I actually started doing something. I was in college, and I was taking my classes, but I didn't actually have a goal. So I noticed that I was actually passionate about firefighting when I was actually doing stuff towards it. You know, I just, you know, I took EMT school, I'm taking it, and I'm studying so hard, and I'm just, I noticed my interest.
That's great. You came alive, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want to have a question for you. I know. Are you tired, Victor? You tired of us throwing all these questions at you? Huh? I know you probably like,
No.
oh my
Like,
God.
question after question.
No.
What is wrong with these people?
No, okay.
No, I know. We just want to make sure that you have a good time. And I really appreciate you coming with us tonight. And the Zoom room is popping, huh, Miss Lori G?
It is. There is. J Vision says, very nice to hear. Good for you, and wish you the best on your EMT journey.
Thank you.
When you think of boxing, can you maybe give us your top 3 favorite boxers of all time?
I think that as a kid, I used to like, my dad and I, well, he would watch old fights, and I like Salvador Sanchez, Mexican fighter, one of the greatest. Juan Manuel Marquez, also one of the greatest. He was a role model to me growing up. His fights with Manny Pacquiao, great fights. And then Julio Cesar Chavez, I think currently, also maybe not right now because he's kind of inactive, but Gennady Golovkin was actually someone that I looked up to as well.
Do you find yourself taking any particular boxing style in terms of footwork, concentration from any of these greats that you've studied and watched?
My last fight, I was actually compared to Salvador Sanchez in the way I move my hands. But no, honestly, I never thought about it. I thought my own style. You know, I counter, and my aggressiveness comes from countering. But I think that I have pretty decent footwork as well. But honestly, I don't know where I get all of this from. I just learning over the years.
How about it's just your calling and a blessing, and it's just one of the reasons that you are here on this planet with us at this time. It's your calling. How about that?
Yeah, thank you.
I think so. I'm sorry, Lori.
I said, I know, Victor, you sent us another clip so we could get to see you in action a little more. Do you have that fight, Rashid? And who was the opponent in that fight?
The opponent was Justin Horsley in this upcoming fight. Okay.
But limited exposure as a boxer. Meanwhile, Vic Rodriguez is a guy who's been in camps with Ray Beltran, Alex Saucedo.
You know, these are the toughest guys to fight, though, Joe. If you're a young fighter coming up, you know, just like we saw in the Kaminsky Collard fight, it's like, even if you're fighting a guy who has better skill, but you both are polished, you got certain things to worry about, but then you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff right there. Guys lunging in, breaking all the rules, throwing awkward punches that you didn't train for. It's a dangerous dangerous point in a young fighter's career early on like this, fighting guys like this.
Yeah, Tim, and we saw how good Clay Collard was earlier in terms of just the ruggedness and the work rate, but he has far more boxing experience than what we see with Horsley. They actually are training together here.
But you could tell Horsley been working. You know, watching him on film, you know, he was wild when I first seen him, you know, in his first fight. But you could tell that he's been working a lot in the gym because he's calm, he's patient, and he's trying to set up his punches. You can see that he's had some tendencies of Collard rushing in the way he's rushing in behind his punches with his body and also his head. You know, right now, I'm gonna let you guys know that is a possibility. There could be a head clash because you have the southpaw versus the orthodox fighter, and you have a fighter like Horsley that's rushing in behind his head, lunging forward. It's an easy situation for a head clash.
Good work from Rodriguez as he was catching Horsley coming in, and then gave him a little something on the exit as well.
I like that, Tess.
Rodriguez, just 19 years old. Made his pro debut in December of last year. Been boxing since he was 5 years old. Trained by his dad, Jose. There's a right hand from Rodriguez. End of one between these two, scheduled for 4. About how non-conforming Justin Horsley is with his approach. I think what we saw in a replay from the first round is a good example when you look at the footwork.
Yeah, when you're facing the Horsleys of the world, this is how you tame them. It's not with the hands, it's with the feet. We see Rodriguez demanding where the fight is going to be fought. He allows Horsley to stumble over his feet. He counters. He didn't really land cleanly, but he let Horsley know that if you make a mistake, I'm coming back with the punch.
Round 2, 4-round fight here. Horsley's second pro fight as a boxer. He's also done some MMA. Rodriguez, long amateur fighter, and now 2-0 as a pro fighter. And then we will have Gabe Flores coming up in moments in our main event. 17-0, 20-year-old Gabe Flores from Stockton, California. There's a right hand from Rodriguez, working behind the jab. Scott Van Pelt coming up once we get done with our main event from Vegas.
I have to say something. You know, Horsley's trying to throw feints. He's using his jab. He's switching stance in front of his opponent, trying to confuse him. You know how hard it is to get young fighters to feint nowadays? And this is a man who don't have a lot of experience, and at least he's trying to do the right thing.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And he's been working with his trainer, Ryan Alt, very well up in Burley, Idaho. He talked to us about it, of how much time he's putting into it and the effort he's putting into trying to learn the sweet science at the next level.
Yeah, Tim, I'll give Horsley an E for effort, but it's not effective tonight because Rodriguez is being disciplined. He's punching like that. He's landing clean shots, but he's not allowing Horsley to get him into his game. And that's how you beat a guy like this who's wild and doesn't have the typical boxing style. You dictate with your feet first, then with your hands how the fight is going to be fought.
See the success that Rodriguez continues to have.
You're leaving your hands out there, horse. You're leaving your hands out there, horse. That's why.
Pressure him with that right hand again. And there it is, straight right that split the guard from Rodriguez.
I just like it because it's just so clean. He knows he has a difficult guy in front of him. You know, something that he probably wouldn't see in the gym, but I just love the calmness of Victor Rodriguez. I love his calmness.
Yeah, lean on your fundamentals when this is what you're in against. And you're descriptive of him being clean, dead on. End of 2.
Love it.
Victor Rodriguez in complete control.
Wow. Okay, Victor, you got to tell us, where did you go with that clip?
You know, I'm reliving it. It's just listening to their comments as well is you don't. I didn't know what they were saying, but until I rewatched the fight. I rewatched this fight so many times. I remember. I just like listening and also learning from their comments in the third round. They said that I needed to work more to the body, and it's something that we go back to the gym and we work on. But it's always good watching back. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I'm interested in knowing. So you win your fight. It was tough. When you go to bed, what do you think the next day when you wake up?
First off, I go home that night and I can't sleep ever. I don't know why. It's after the fight, I can't sleep. I'm so excited still. I'm so happy, you know, that everything went out as planned, and I can't sleep. But then the next morning I wake up and it's just I can eat because you know the whole camp, it's just dieting, and especially the last week, it's always so tough, and it's just you're craving so many things, and first thing I think of that morning is just, oh man, I can eat. Yeah.
That's great.
What
In
are
our
some of your
Zoom-
favorites?
Pancakes
go
to
ahead,
have in the
Lori.
morning, pancakes for sure. I love pancakes. Pancakes are my go-to. I love pancakes. Yeah.
Okay. We have I don't know if I'm saying this name right. Lionel Lozano says, in your third fight, I see you're letting your hands go. Were you going for the knockout?
So we never actually go, you know, to try to knock out the person. If it comes, it comes. But we go in there, work with our game plan, stick to the game plan, and if the knockout comes, then you know it comes. But I think that it's important to never just go and try to look for it, because that's when you start making mistakes and you can get caught.
Right.
Yeah.
Jay Visions in our Zoom room said, I noticed your fight was at the MGM Grand from the previous clip. How do you feel fighting there at such an early stage in your boxing career?
It meant so much to me, you know, just because so many great fighters were fought there, you know, at the MGM Grand, and it meant so much to me, you know, actually being there where the greats were, and yeah, it was just so motivating to me. I remember that night, the night before, I was thinking like, man, I'm really here and I'm really gonna do this, you know, fighting on television, fighting at the MGM Grand. It was super nice. It was a great feeling.
Electrifying would be like a word to use.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It's like, is this for real? Like, I can pinch myself.
Yes,
What do you think? I know, right? What do you think, Lori? I'm sorry.
I agree. It's like, wow, it's you're really living your dream. And I think that is so special. Not everyone gets a chance to do that. So I applaud your courage and your ambition to keep pushing for your desires. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I had a question for you, Victor. You know, we live in this place. I actually went to the dentist today, which is another horrifying story. We won't even go down that pathway. But
I hate the dentist too, by the way.
I know, I hate the dentist. But anyway, she went on to talk about, you know, how the world has changed, the onset of COVID, and how at least she feels in dentistry, things will never be the way they were pre-COVID. When you look at the pandemic and its effects on boxing, what are your thoughts about that? And do you feel it has forever changed the sport when we look post-COVID?
You know, I think that the way it affected boxing, it was really tough at first, because literally they closed down everything, amateur fights, pro fights, and so many people that maybe weren't as fortunate as I was to get a fight during COVID, you know, they're inactive, and they have so many, you know, they have a year and months of inactivity. Now, you know, it's really tough, especially for amateur fighters as well. You know, people in the Olympics, fighters in the Olympics, those were postponed. But amateur as well, you know, it's really tough for them right now. You know, they're barely starting to open back up in Mexico, and they have to make that drive to fight in Mexico, amateur, you know, things that you wouldn't really do, you know. But yeah, I mean, a year and something of inactivity is tough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lori.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you're right. That's tough for that inactivity. So how did you and your dad, your trainer, handle that period of COVID? Did you continue to train, and what was your motivational level, and where was your mindset with not knowing where the world was going?
So at the beginning, we weren't training because, you know, gyms were closed until we got that call. Then we had to find a way. So we were training here in my garage or in the backyard. So it was really tough. But then it began to open. We fought, and even after, you know, the gyms are still open, and we're going to the gym. We're training. Yeah, I mean, it's still tough to get fights, but we're still training. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay.
So pre-interview, you talked a little bit about the relationship with your dad being your trainer, and you spoke a little bit about that here tonight. I'd like to know a little more about, in your opinion, how has that affected your relationship? I tried when my girls were growing up to be their tutors, being an educator. And that didn't work too well, Victor. It didn't. It's just like it diminished our relationship. So I paid a tutor to come in and work with them. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to know, how has that affected your relationship with your dad?
I honestly think that in a positive way. I think that it made our bond much stronger. We talk about literally anything. We just because we have so much, we have time at home with our family, but then we also have extra time at the gym where we go through a lot of things. We go through a lot of ups and downs where, I just think that it made our bond so much stronger. And I feel like I can trust anything with my dad. I can tell him anything. And I think that it's just the relationship as a coach and son is nice because, we grow together. He tells me what I do wrong. He tells me what I do right, but more so the wrong thing so that I can grow and correct, those mistakes.
Absolutely. Now, we had talked before we went on air about maybe your dad might want to come over and join us on the panel. Did you have a chance to see if he was interested in doing that?
Yeah, he said that I'm better at talking, so yeah, he's just gonna leave it to me. Yeah.
So, with the onset of COVID and so many terrible loss that people across the world have suffered, it has really changed my opinion and slowed me down to understand that it's really important to tell the people we love in our lives what we feel about them every opportunity we get, because we may not have tomorrow. We might not even have 10 minutes from now. So if you had something special to say to your dad as it relates to your career or potential career in boxing, your journey up to this point, what would you say?
Well, first of all, that I love him and that honestly, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. And I wouldn't be the person that I am if it wasn't for him as well as my mom. I think that, a part of growing and being mature, it's not just us. It's not just us as a person, but the people who educate us, my parents, they helped me form who I am today. And honestly, if it wasn't for him and my mom, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am, and I wouldn't be where I am today.
That's such a beautiful tribute to your parents. Go ahead, Rashid.
Thank you.
Okay. So I believe your last fight was in June. Are you looking forward to having another fight, or are you more focused on your education in becoming an EMT firefighter?
So we have a fight for May 1st. We had one coming up in April that I had to let go because of EMT school. It was just so it's a class from 8 to 5. It's an expedited course. It's a class from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and it requires a lot of studying. So my dad and I decided that maybe April wasn't the way to go. And May 1st, we're coming back. We have a fight in Tijuana, Mexico. We couldn't get anything here, so we're going to Tijuana and see how that goes. Hopefully good.
I know it will. Fingers crossed.
You're ready. And wait, you got to tell us all about it, and we want to make sure that we can via satellite or somewhere that we can tap in seriously. Because I want to go to a match next time. You have some local, let us know. We'll be there. Lori G.
Absolutely.
Victor! I want to be in a crowd. I like the hysteria. I was a cheerleader. I can do it, guys.
Okay. It'll be good to have you in the crowd.
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lori G.
No, I here at the Poetry of Justice show, Victor, we try to inspire and uplift our community and to give a voice and a level of awareness of of what's happening in the world around us, right?
Mhm.
And so one thing that I think we can't deny as a country is that there's a sense of division of all of the terrible things that have happened as it relates to racial inequalities, right? So we've
Right.
seen the Black Lives Matter movement, the George Floyd terrible episode, all the way to the insurgents of the Capitol building.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a person of color living in America right now?
Honestly, I feel that, you know, I definitely do feel that, we're uh, acted upon. We are discriminated, but I just think that, it helps us be stronger people. I don't think it's right, definitely not. But I think that having to go through all of this just makes us a stronger person. Like, okay, you know what? Well, if they say that I'm this, then I'm gonna work to prove them wrong, and I'm gonna work to, be a better person, and not, stand there and argue with this person. Be a better and smarter person than whoever is, discriminating me and the rest of society. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. How old are you, Victor? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 20 years old.
You're 20 years old.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm 120 years old comparatively. And so
That true.
through my lens as an older person, it's very troubling that I don't see a great deal of movement of our country, right?
Right.
But it seems that your generation, and you would be what, Generation Y? Is that the generation, Rashid? Rashid, you're a millennial, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And the next is Gen Y. Seems like the Gen
Oh, Gen Z.
Y or Gen Z
Gen Z.
uh, individuals are less tolerant of racial inequity, right? Do it seems that their view tends to be a lot more blended. When you look at your peer group, do you see a level of intolerance that exists amongst your age group?
You know what? I do. And I think that it's just, as, as time progresses, I do feel that, each time we have more freedom of, expressing ourselves. And of course, social media has a lot to do with this.
Mm,
Um, People that maybe wouldn't have the confidence to doing it in person go out and express themselves online. And I think that in that sense, social media sometimes is a positive, just because, like I said, the people that aren't confident enough to express themselves and what they feel in person, they can do that through social media and, feel heard. Mhm.
mhm. Rashid, what do you feel about that, being a millennial? Is the view of the millennials the same? Is there a feeling of zero tolerance when it comes to racial inequity and divide?
Definitely, there is a view of just zero tolerance, especially because we want to, try to make a change and try to bring awareness to a lot of the issues that have been going on for years, because we've been hearing it from our parents, from our grandparents, about all the racial inequities. It's just that we now live in a day and age where we can actually get it on camera. We can actually get it on film. We can actually document these things, because we just got a bill that's named after George Floyd, in which it's supposed to target, the actual misconduct of the police. In fact, actually having a system in place to where you now have a registry if you have repeated offenses of just repeated complaints, and also just overall repeated offenses of just overuse of your authority, and then they want to use that to actually help give better training to the officers. Because I'm gonna be honest, A lot of the situation that the police have been put into, I don't think they're actually meant for those situations. I don't think they're meant to actually diffuse those situations. Some situations, especially with the mentally impaired, police should not be called for those situations because they're not trained to actually diffuse that situation. There are those that actually come from outside of the community and try to police within the community without really knowing the community. I think that type of a thing should actually cease and desist, because if you don't know the community, how can you really police the community if you don't really know the people that are inside of the community?
Right. I definitely can see that, Rashid, and respect that. I don't know. I think it was just very daunting. It was very sad, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Seeing all of that. I think in the recent headlines, some of the insurgent individuals that have been arrested have now, actually, a couple of them have a lawsuit against ex-President Trump. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Yes, I've heard about it. Where
have you heard that?
The rioters have a lawsuit against him?
Some of the rioters have a lawsuit against President Trump because they're trying to say that he influenced their actions. He basically riled them up to actually go to the Capitol, in which he didn't go himself. But he basically, led the charge, per se, for them to actually go to the Capitol. And
that look at Victor's face. I mean,
and basically do the fuck shit that they were doing.
Right? He said,
Victor, you've got to weigh in on this.
I know, right? You want to pull it up? She try to pull it up.
What
See
do
if you
you
can pull it
think?
up.
I don't know. I think that it's dumb. That they can't. I mean, I do think that they were aroused by President Trump, but I feel that you have authority over what you do, and you're responsible for your actions. So I think that them going, and protesting and then trying to blame it on someone, I think that's just immature, and they should have known better if they're, if they know the consequences. There's such thing as peaceful protest, and then something like that, like rioting.
Right, but
I wasn't the way to go.
Right, it's definitely not.
Who makes you climb up a scale or a brick wall, right?
Girl,
I know.
Right, but also, it's actually telling, because if you look at the actual Black Lives Matter protests, we've always been peaceful protests for the most part. Now, we have the insurgency, in which it was actually trained military personnel, former FBI agents that were amongst that group. And I don't feel sympathy for the woman who got shot in the face because she was at the Capitol.
Rashid.
I can't feel sympathy. I cannot feel sympathy for that stupidity.
Rashid, we don't want anyone to get shot in the face. Come on.
Well, depending, it could be circumstantial.
Nah, I mean, when you trying to, let's see now, hang, what was it? Mike Pence.
They're gonna hang Pence. They actually had a noose. Did you guys see that on the news?
Yes.
They actually had a noose constructed outside of the Capitol.
Yes, they were going to hang noose and then kill Nancy Pelosi.
They're going to kill Nancy and hang Pence.
Yes, that was their
And
game
this
plan.
is all Trump's fault. Don't forget that, Victor. It's all Trump's fault.
Yeah.
Who makes you do that? Nobody can make
I know,
you
that's
do
crazy.
that.
Right, and I think I have footage of the actual.
Rashid love footage.
Rashid is notorious for finding the footage.
Let's get it for Facebook world.
On the surface, Wednesday started like so many Trump rallies had before. But the anger and the tension felt more intense. Congress was about to confirm Joe Biden's presidency and most here were convinced it was a fraud.
Do you think people are angry today?
Absolutely, people are angry, and you can feel it. You can feel the rage, the madness.
Before Trump's speech was even finished, many were already making their way to the Capitol.
Stop protecting tyrants! Stand down!
And as more protesters arrived, the mood darkened.
Hold up, man! Hold up, man!
We're here at the Capitol steps right after the Trump speech was finished. People started filing over here and started pressing against the Capitol. Police are spraying mace and pushing the lines back so people can get through. We're going to move forward.
USA! 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 Come on!
But as we pushed up,
Who's on the media? Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Hey, get the fuck out of here! Okay? Get the fuck out!
they tried to smash our camera.
Who you with? Who? Who's your covering? This is CNN? Better not be CNN.
Police started throwing flashbang grenades and spraying mace. As the crowd pushed up, one man flashed his handgun at a group of journalists. The cops weren't prepared. They had to take turns with the masks to protect from their own tear gas. The defense lines quickly fell apart. Soon after, the mob was rampaging through the halls of the Capitol. From what we saw on Wednesday, the MAGA anger is at a new level. And with Trump now banned from Twitter, and plans already circulating for future marches on the Capitol, that day of unprecedented violence may not be the end of this unrest.
Oh my God, I hadn't seen some of that footage. Look at Victor. Okay, Victor, I'm gonna go to the first.
Oh, gosh.
Some of that footage was new to me, Rashid. I hadn't seen. Victor, what are your thoughts on that when you see that? What did you spot?
I hadn't seen a lot of those yet either, and it's crazy to to see what the inside of it. It's crazy, so many people getting hurt, and it's like they really went out of their way to do that and get hurt. It's crazy.
Lori G, I'm sorry.
We have a couple of questions in our Zoom room. I wanted to respond to, I think it's Leonel Lozano, who says, I'm sorry, but what does this connect to Victor's boxing career, or how does this connect to Victor's boxing career? And I just wanted to say, Leonel, that a part of the Poetry of Justice show is actually looking at social issues and looking at wonderful, talented individuals like Victor to see what their thoughts are about the social world in which they live and what their contributions are to make a change. So for us here, it's all connected. It's definitely Victor, a young man who is moving forward and climbing up, and we're so very proud of him. But we want to showcase him in his entirety to really allow our viewers to get a chance to know him. So I wanted to respond that way.
And then if I could just say something, I think that, more than just boxing, I'm more than just a person that, goes to the gym and comes back to home. I think that, all of this affects everyone, you know, in society. I think that we should all, you know what's going on. And, you know, I'm also someone that contributes to society. So I think that, yeah, I think that that's how this connects to myself and, you know, yeah.
Yeah. So there is another question from Kevin Diaz, who says, hey, Victor, is there a difference to when there are fans at the arena watching you and when there aren't?
I think so. He's probably going back to the third fight when there wasn't any fans. I think that definitely there is. Just as you guys can tell how quiet it was in the third fight, and then in the second fight, how there was so many people cheering you on. I think that that does motivate you a lot. The people, you know, the people there, they maybe you don't distinguish a lot of the things that they're saying, but when they all come together and they start rooting for you, you know, start cheering your name, it definitely does make a difference. It gives you like a second air, and it motivates you to push through.
Absolutely.
And
then I think our last question here from Jay Visions is, how do you feel about commentators always comparing fighters to Chavez when it comes to being one of the best? Do you consider Chavez as one of the best?
I consider Chavez the best, but I think I think that, you know, it's always going to happen, and I think that sometimes it is good, unless you really don't like the person. But I think that it is good, you know, just it motivates, especially young fighters like myself. You know, wow, like I'm being compared to this person. You know, it just you try to live up to it. You know, you learn from it, and it's like, okay, then if they think that of me, then I'm gonna work upon it. But I think that it's motivating. I think it's good.
Right. Absolutely. So I would like to tie some of that together, right? So our viewers definitely want to hear more about your career and about more where you plan to go with your career. And I think also part of our fan base is really interested in that social impact, the clips of how the conflict of the world is. How do you see your career moving forward as a person of color in America, with the amount of uprising that we're seeing right now, the amount of tensions there? Do you see there being a block, an impasse, or how do you see that impacting your movement forward?
So I think boxing is a very diverse community. You know, there's so many people of color, you know, there's whites as well. So I think that in the sport, we all come together and we make boxing what it is, something so big and something that a family can sit down and enjoy. So I think that it'll be a good thing for me. You know, I'm Mexican American, and I have, thankfully, a pretty good fan base. Especially, you know, Latinos and all of that, we all come together and we support our people. So I think that it's a good thing. It's a good thing for me.
It's an awesome thing. And thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us here at the Poetry of Justice show. Victor, it means a great deal to me, and how our paths were able to cross. You know, you just never know what the future holds, or how the spirit moves and where the creator wants us to be. But I do know that this was ordained and meant to be this evening, tonight, Victor, for you to have blessed our show and changing the trajectory and for me, I'm just going to put it out there. I think we need to do more shows like this that talk about social consciousness, of course. I think we need to do more shows like this that allow people to showcase, to be seen, and not just, you know, fragmented. I want people to see that we are all a community in terms of diversity. You see what I'm saying, Rashid?
Yeah.
In terms of just who we are nowadays. We've got the pandemic. We have over 500,000 individuals have died on American soil from COVID-19, a disease that's airborne, that attaches to one person and not to another person. Does this to one person is something to another. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you here, we're on YouTube Live, we're on Facebook Live, we got the Zoom room going, we're here. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Did you hear that? 500,000 individuals have perished. And we are blessed, in my opinion, and I use that terminology, to be here tonight, to commune with one another, to talk about the art of boxing. The art of boxing as it relates to Victor Rodriguez, the art of boxing and how it relates to each and every one of us who's on this broadcast tonight, who's in the Zoom room. I know I too now look at boxing very differently. As you can see, for those of you who can see and can't see, I am African American, as they say, but I resonate with Black. We're so mixed. We are so much going on. When I say that, there is Irish in my family, there is Choctaw Indian in our family, and we're Cherokee Indian. Now, I don't know what that means, but at the end of the day, my skin is this color, and they tell me that means I'm Black. So I like it, I'm Black, and I'm proud of it. And that being stated, I think it's very important for Black and brown people to be seen communing like we're doing here tonight. So each one of us making a change each and every day so we can grow as a community to help heal. And it's things like this. It's the Poetry of Justice show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my passion. For those of you who are listening, and I'm particularly to the individual in the Zoom room that asked, well, what is this? How does this pertain to Victor? I think it pertains to Victor and all of us when it just comes to basic human kindness. And if we can take a look and see all that nastiness, all of that ugly, all of that vomit that spilled onto American soil under the administration of this individual. And again, I'm just talking about social justice here, ladies and gentlemen, just treating people with basic human respect and dignity. So when I am blessed to come across someone like Victor Rodriguez, who didn't know me from a can of paint. I don't even know, I'm not even going to go into details how I met Victor, but at the end of the day, I know there's a holy creator, and I know that there are celestial beings that look over us and that make sure we're okay. We're talking about, just like you said, Victor, age of 19, 20, the MGM Grand, ladies and gentlemen, in Las Vegas. He's anointed. He is anointed. He's blessed. People are praying for him. And we're going to be one of those people because we are a community, ladies and gentlemen. We are a village. And when we get ourselves together and do what we need to do, no one can stop us from what it is. And I just appreciate you, Victor. And I just want to give a very special shout out to your dad. I bless him for blessing us and making the connection. I'd like to give a very special shout out to everyone in our Zoom room tonight for coming on and supporting Victor and making sure that he knows that when he goes out there, and not only when he's out, I think the key for it, guys, is not only when he's in the ring. We're cheering for people like Victor every day, walking down the street, right? Every day, those individuals who's fighting to make a change and make things differently, how he is so concentrated and so focused on what he wants and knowing that the next step is to EMT training, to becoming a firefighter. All the other little Black and brown boys can look at this broadcast coming up later, right? And see Victor and what he's done and his accomplishments, you, Rashid, and yours, and what we try to do here every Saturday night on the Poetry of Justice show. I'm sorry I went on a tangent, but not so sorry when I went on a tangent, because I just want my heart to be felt and let everybody know. Thank you so much for your time, because Lori and I always say time is the one thing we can't get back. We can get money back. Sometimes you can get friends back. You can't get our time back. And so it's very, 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 very near and dear to me. So thank you, everyone, tonight for choosing to spend your time with Lori Ray, JackieRay on the Poetry of Justice show, yikesradio.com, acceleratedradio.net. Tell your friends about us, because we are changing lives every weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So I know I went on a tangent. I'm going to bounce it over to you, Lori G, because we got some new things going on in the studio. And then we're going to talk more about Victor and where we can see him and his future.
Absolutely. We've got one more question that has come into our Zoom room, which kind of takes us to the last phase of our show. Victor, which we call it tea time, which is trying to get to kind of know who you are socially, right? And so Lionel Lozano is going to take us right into that. Lionel asks, Victor, how has your social life changed due to the pandemic? And so I think this is an excellent question to segue there.
So I think that it changed my life in a sense that there's a lot of people that I haven't seen in some time because of the pandemic. But like you guys said earlier, it also gives me time to kind of appreciate who I have my family, you know, tell them that I love them, and, you know, to truly feel thankful for, you know, for our health and be appreciative of that.
Absolutely. The pandemic, I think, as you say, has changed lots of things. How have you felt any stress or pressure, or how have you dealt with that? I've read lots of stories that said, particularly for athletes that have not been able to train and not sure of the future of their craft, have been under a tremendous amount of stress. Have you felt stress, and how have you dealt with that?
I think only at the beginning, just because the majority of my training is done at the gym. But at the beginning, my dad and I both felt stressed just because you don't get the same amount of training, you know, training here in the garage. You know, you miss out on so many things. We don't have a punching bag. We don't have a double end. We don't have a speed bag. We don't have so many of the things that we need at the gym. So I think that at first we were stressed because in reality, we only got 3 of the workouts done that we need out of so many. So at first we were stressed, but then I think as people, we all learn to adapt. And, you know, I think that we were able to do that.
So give us a little insight into you when you're not training or focusing on the intensity of your boxing career. What are some things that you do for fun? What's the softer side of Victor?
Well, I have every weekend I get together with my family, and I have a girlfriend. So we go out, you know, we go out to eat. Oh, actually, the pandemic affected us a lot because we would go to the movies almost every weekend, and now we can't. But so in that sense, yeah, you know, I go out with my girlfriend, with my friends. Weekends I share with my family. So yeah, that's pretty much. I focus a lot on my family and spending time with them.
Mm-hmm.
And our
That's
family
a great
is
value.
very important. Sorry, Lori.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, yeah, family is definitely very important. Gracia, and I hope I said this right, Gracia Velasquez says, we, your fans, love you and support you, and we can't wait to see you back in the ring.
That's my girlfriend.
So
Oh,
that's
yay.
your girlfriend. All right, yay.
Does she want to come over into the panel?
I don't know.
Lori, is she available to go to the panel? Do you have the capability?
If she would like to.
It's up to Victor and she.
Gracia, would you like to come over and join Victor on the panel? If you do, just type yes in the chat and I will bring you over.
I'm not sure if she can. I think she's at a family reunion, but I mean,
oh,
up to her. Oh, well, that's Jay Visions.
Jay Visions. Yes.
Jay Visions says yes, huh?
Yes. Okay, well, we'll see what she says. So that transitions us to tell us a little bit we've got about 10 more minutes together. Can you tell us a little bit about what are your future plans? When can we expect you to be back in the ring? And guess what, guys? Gracia is coming over, so I'm going to bring her over. Yay! Let me find her here. All right, she is on her way.
This is a great night.
This is very exciting. There we go. We just need you to turn on your camera and your speaker. There she is. How beautiful.
Nice to meet you. How are you tonight, Ms. Velasquez?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good. So what is it like for you dating a boxer? Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, I love being with him. I love supporting him. He's honestly the hardest working person I've ever met. So I just love being by his side. I love being in his corner. And he knows I'm always going to be there.
So
beautiful.
Gracia, I have to ask you this question. How is it watching him fight? How do you manage that? Do you go to the fights or do you stay home? How does that work for you?
No, I have to be at every fight. I told him even like he has to get me a ticket every time or else I can't be I get so anxious, but at the time that he's up there, I'm yelling and I don't even know what I'm saying, but I'm there and I don't know. I get nervous. I just even thinking about it, I get so nervous, but I know he's there and his plan is to always come out safe and I trust him and I know he's a great fighter. So I'm never really afraid of him not coming out like a winner.
Yes,
That is
absolutely.
awesome. My
That is simply beautiful. So Victor, you were going to tell us, along with this lovely lady by your side, when can we expect to see you back in the ring? What are your future plans?
May 1st, we'll be back. I think they will be transmitting it through either Facebook, YouTube, in Tijuana, Mexico. But yeah, May 1st, we'll be back.
What's that?
All
Saturday
right.
night, May 1st, guys. We have to mark our
May
calendar.
1st. I'm
Let's see,
making a
what
note
day
of
the
that
week is
there.
that, Rashid? Because we want to make sure that we are part of it and that we announce it on my IG page. We announced it on Facebook so we can distribute and just make sure
That is on Saturday.
That is.
And who are you facing in that fight, Victor?
So we don't have an opponent yet, so we're just staying ready. You know, we're training and we're just waiting to see. But we will have an opponent, and I'm sure that it will go down.
Right.
I'm
How
super
is that? I know. I'm curious because we talked a lot about you preparing mentally for your fights. How is it preparing with not knowing who your opponent will be?
So it's you know, we at this point, it's not more of do you know your opponent? Just because a lot of us beginners, we have either 1 or 2 fights to learn from, but so there's not much evidence of their fights to look for. But you know, it doesn't change at all. You know, I still work just as hard for every fight, and my determination is still always the same. You know, it's always go in there and win, no matter what.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, Jay Vision says it is so heartwarming, Gracia, for you to be here. It definitely is. We're so grateful that you came over. She
Thank
says,
you.
are they say goals? And then the question Jay Visions has is, what are your social media platforms just to make sure I'm updated with your journey? So Victor, can you share those social media platforms as to how our fans and our viewers can follow your career?
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at VROD200, VROD 200, and on Facebook, I'm on Victor Rodriguez. Victor Alberto Rodriguez. That's on Facebook, and that's pretty much it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
That's a lot.
Good.
That's good stuff.
Absolutely, guys. That's a lot.
I know. So what do you think about the Poetry of Justice show, Victor? Is this something? Yeah, what do you think about it?
Well, honestly, I've never heard about it, but for today, I had so much fun. You know, I just think that it's like more than an interview. It's more of a talk. You know, with each other. I think it's fun. I loved it. You know.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that. What do you think, Lori G?
Well, I really hope that Victor and Gracia will come back and visit us again.
Definitely.
And be a part of our show. And we can have a victory celebration for that May 1st fight.
Definitely.
I'm like your beautiful girlfriend here says, I'm a believer. I know that you're going to do it, right?
Every
I'm on
time.
your
He's
side
gonna
as
win
well.
every time. I know it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Victor, I have a
Every
question
single
for you.
time.
Do you or anyone you know like poetry? Are they a poet and like to recite?
I have friends from high school that, you know, I just have on Instagram that we're striving that way. But yeah, just friends from high school. Yeah.
Put it out there, Lori. You may want to go ahead and put another plug out of what the Poetry of Justice show and Ginger Production have going on the end of May.
We do. Well, guys, here at the Poetry of Justice show, we are having our very first virtual poetry slam. And that's going to be on May 29th. And we are super excited about it. We've had several poetry slams live, but with the onset of the pandemic, this will be our first virtual one. So please share far and wide. We have a casting call out for poets or storytellers. You don't have to necessarily be a poet, but just to be a creative storyteller. And we would love for you to come and check us out. Anyone who is interested and would like to read can definitely email us at the Poetry of Justice Show at gmail.com. I think that would be great. And Jay Vision says, Lori, I see you have that Ducks jersey framed. Which player is that? That's true. I do have it framed. And Jay Visions, I have no idea because it's my husband's jersey that's framed here. So I'm not
so
a real Ducks
hilarious.
fan. I'm a football fan though, right? Go Seahawks. So
Okay, so last question.
yeah.
If Victor, if you were to actually be trained by any boxer from any era, who would you want to be trained by?
Oof, tough question. Let me see. Like a current boxer,
It could be current or like in the
recently
past.
retired. I think that Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, that'd be super cool. I think Juan Manuel Marquez.
Wow.
Okay.
That's great.
Awesome.
I like that answer. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Victor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to wind it down here on the Poetry of Justice show with JackieRay Phillips on yikesradio.com and acceleratedраdio.net. Lori G will be back here next Saturday. Can you let our listeners know what we have in store?
Yes, next Saturday, I invite all of you to join us. We do the Ladies of the Chat are up. And so the Ladies of the Chat is a group of girlfriends that have been together for 30 years, and they share their journey and they talk about various topics. This month, March, is Women's History Month. So it's the celebration of the woman. So we have a poet, Monica L., who has just debuted two novels. One is a book of poetry for the pandemic, and the other one is a self-reflecting journal filled with daily affirmations. So she'll be joining us to talk about her poetry, and the ladies will be together to share different ideas and celebration of women and womanhood. So, Gracia, we invite you to join us if you'd like to come hang out.
Lady, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
thank you
Victor,
so much.
Yes. Victor, give us your handles one more time. We want to make sure that we don't miss this May 1st fight. Definitely email them to me. I will put them in the chat, and we will start pubbing your fight here so that we're all together. May 1st, right? May 1st.
Yes, May 1st.
Gracia,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to check in on you to see how you're doing after that fight, girl. See if your nerves are okay.
Thank you so much,
Victor,
everybody.
where can we follow you?
So at BRAR200 on Instagram and Victor Alberto Rodriguez on Facebook.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us
Have a
here on the
great
Poetry of
night.
Justice show. God bless.
Bye-bye.